Greetings, it's your spiritual homegirl, the OG of Back Block, but you can call me Baddie. I don't tell fortunes, but I do, however, translate frequencies and clock the energy. Welcome to my moment where spirit speaks and the cards confirm. Sometimes it's hard truth, sometimes it's healing, but it's always love. So we're going to get straight into it. I'm sure you already read the title, so definitely if you're here, it's because you're supposed to be. I woke up meditating or hearing, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm so over it. So I already knew that that was going to be the theme of today, so I already prayed, shuffled the cards. I pulled 4 cards for the overall energy, and I also pulled some clarifiers because I don't necessarily like shuffling the whole time that we're together. So, with that in mind, there's definitely a lot of heavy energy that the cards are confirming. You got the 9 of Wands, you got the 5 of Pentacles, you got the Magician, and the World card. So, it's definitely giving, spiritual warrior, being worn out, feeling kind of left out of things. This could be emotionally, it could be financially, it could be spiritually. I think last week we talked about, ending cycles where things may have cut so deep into you and really hurt you in the past. But now, instead of being like a full-on stab in the back, it's kind of just coming on as maybe like a little nick. But sometimes we know something as simple as a paper cut could actually hurt a hell of a lot. So I'm definitely getting that. With this Magician card, as soon as it came out, I'm getting the hold up. They don't love you like I love you. Lay it down, 'cause they don't love you like I love you. Which I'm getting is yourself saying to yourself, hold up. We're going to practice some self-love here, and begin to really complete these cycles that we've been entering into that are generating these hard feelings. So it's really looking back, not out of bitterness or anything like that. It's simply looking back on things so that you can notice your own patterns and begin to teach yourself how to not go that route anymore. You know what I'm saying? If you know every time you, try and put your papers together and shuffle them or something like that, you get a paper cut. It's like those raffia bags. I don't know if any of you ever had them, but I love the look of raffia pocketbooks. But they always give me a splinter in the darndest places, like on the side of my finger or something like that. And I hate that. It takes me sometimes weeks to recognize it, like a thorn in the ass. So somebody could be playing a thorn in the ass, or something like that. But sometimes it just takes so long to even recognize it. And then once you recognize it, for me, it drives me absolutely nuts until I can finally do something about it. I don't know if you had that, but I've been able to do like baking soda and lemon juice and make like a little pasty mixture and kind of put it on there, and apparently that's supposed to help pull splinters out, but I don't know who needed that. But there it is. And that was a confirmation. Definitely one of the other ways of looking back on things or recognizing your patterns or even gaining your healing is actually being in tune to the things that you're hearing around you in your environment. I know a lot of times, you'll be with friends or something like that, and somebody may have their Apple Music or their Pandora or something playing, and it'll be like, yo, we was just talking about this, and this song came up. Or you were thinking about something, and it'll come up on your feed. Well, if you're paying attention and you're really trying to elevate yourself, you have to start looking at those things as confirmations. Even right now with tarot, I'm not here to tell you anything that you don't know. You're here if you resonate, and it's here to confirm what's going on. So, like I said, I woke up with that. I know I have to do my readings on Monday. So, when I woke up, I was like, okay, what's the vibe? And it was just given, like, I'm over it. I'm over it. You know, even like with it getting hot and stuff like that outside, it's like summer just started. But if you're not into the heat and all of that, you're probably over it already. Hence, I can't even wear my doggone wigs. I had to just like wash it and lay it down, right? So, showing up as your true, authentic self, not shying away from what you're actually feeling and what you're actually experiencing, because these are I heard moments of truth, especially when you're in co-creation mode with spirit. So as I clarified the cards, we got into the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Wands in reverse, the Star card, and the Ten of Wands, which definitely says, to me, at the end of the day, a lot of you or a lot of us or the collective is a lot doing too much. Perhaps not using your resources, perhaps, maybe trying to show up for other people. It's almost giving, what this Queen of Cups is giving, oh my goodness, the kids are looking up to me, so I have to fake it until I make it. And, you're wanting to show up as this beautiful queen, but your kids can see, or whoever it is, I'm using kids for an example, whoever it is that you're trying to show up for, can see that you're tired, that you are had enough or something like that. Or this could be that Queen of Wands in reverse energy. Like I said, kind of showing up when you're not feeling it, not feeling your regular, beautiful, sexy self, not feeling like your efforts are being recognized. I heard running out of fucks to give, which all that is quite all right. And a lot of times we're giving too many fucks. A lot of times we're giving 10 fucks when we only need to give 3. You're giving 100% when you need to bust that down to 30 and delegate out the rest of it so that you can go and get some much needed free time, some much needed me time, some much needed self love, some much needed self care. I was even for myself trying to figure out what would make an epic summer, for me. And I really haven't been able to come up with a full answer right now, even though we're already into summer. I might have already supposedly been thinking about that. But it's kind of just doing what I want to do without having to really worry about it. Being led by spirit, experiencing new things and stuff like that. So, this kind of gives me the vibe of maybe you're trying to live up to people's standards and it really ain't that deep for you. You know what I mean? Which a lot of that is, quite honestly, what we do. Come on, you know. So I definitely get the judgment card is underneath the deck. And to me, that's giving me the air of, especially with this magician card in here, they're pretty strong energies. The star card, the world card, it's like, don't forget who the fuck you are. And don't let anybody tell you who you should be. You understand what I'm saying? I'm almost getting, except when it comes to apologies. Some of you could possibly end your cycles by actually apologizing. I used to study with an elder, and she was Muslim, but she would reference this letter that she wrote that she was very proud of, but the assignment was to write a letter to somebody that you needed to apologize to. And in this letter, she wrote it to herself. And she apologized to herself for, not recognizing her inner power earlier on in life. She apologized to herself. I remember her speaking about her husband. Maybe not in the best of terms, but I don't remember anything inherently bad. But I mean, a lot of us know that sometimes, like when we're in a relationship, we give so much of ourselves to those relationships that we're in. It doesn't just have to be emotional relationships, it could be any type of relationship that we give so much of ourselves. We're trying to prove to people, you know, who we are or how we'd rather be perceived, and things like that, that it's almost like a front, a farce. So now she would apologize to herself for not being true to herself. She apologized to herself for making certain mistakes, in life. But to me, in life, there are really no mistakes. They're just really opportunities to learn and to grow. That could be another thing. Maybe people viewing what you're doing as failures or something like that, where, a rework of the narrative could be, it's just a learning experience. Nothing is ever lost. Any other messages for the collective? Any other messages or clarifications? I am hearing, a lot of you may have a lot of heavier situations than what I'm mentioning here. And I did just hear, like, weeping may endure for the night, but joy does come in the morning. I know we've been getting a lot of, like, thunderstorms here. And, one night I was like, man, I've never heard thunder, you know, like this. And I mean, it's like a deep growl, that this thunder is. And when I was shuffling the cards, I kind of got the vibe like last week's reading was like, the silver lining after a storm, where things are really going to work out, just keep on keeping on, and things like this. But this, I'm getting almost like the thunder rumbling before the storm. And we know that, life goes into cycles. So just because we make it through one rainstorm doesn't mean we can put our umbrella and galoshes, in storage. You know what I'm saying? You might need to keep them by the door because it'll come again, and it's better to be prepared than, to think that it could never happen again or happen to me or something like that. There's so many cards that came out in here. Um, so I'm getting that it's giving. I'm hearing my pastor in Maryland. He is in my head right now, and he used to say, "Write down your plans and give them to Jesus, but make sure you write them in pencil, because he will take it and erase it out." And I feel like this is what's happening here. It's kind of like, well, I wanted to do this, that, and